This section of the course is going to look at ethics. Now, I know what you're thinking. I did ethics on the law paper. I did ethics on the auditing paper. In fact, I seem to have done ethics quite a lot. Well, on this exam, we're going to look at ethics from a slightly different angle. On most of the exam papers where you've seen ethics already, the principle is about telling you what ethics is. It's about telling you the rules, the principles, what you should do in particular situations. On this exam, it's a little bit different. We will look at that again just to remind you what the principles are, but here we have a little bit more fun with it and ask ourselves, why are those the principles? In fact, should there be any principles? Might there be different principles? So instead of just accepting that there is a bit of knowledge that we need to have, here we get to challenge that knowledge and look at ethics from all sorts of different angles to try to decide what actually is right and wrong. Now, that may all seem a little philosophical for you, but how does that fit into the world of accountancy? Well, accountants are expected to do the right thing, whatever that is. So we need to have some understanding of what the right thing might be. And the problem is, maybe what's right in the world of business is not necessarily what would be right in our private life. Now, maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. And we need to examine that and look at it from the different angles and theories that exist. Because ethics is all about behaviour, there is a natural tie-in from this part of the course back to stakeholder theory, and we'll take a look at that shortly. The other thing to appreciate is that because this is about behaviour and it's about theory, there are a lot of ways of looking at it. So rather like the stakeholder theory part of the course, there's quite a lot of knowledge in here. And of course, it's not your typical accountancy knowledge. We're not going to be looking at numbers, debits, credits, etc. This is a thinking part of the course, an analysis part of the course, where there will be some marks available for knowledge, but probably a lot more marks for looking at a given situation and applying the ethical theories to it. I said a few moments ago that there is a natural link between ethics and stakeholder theory. So let's just remind ourselves about stakeholder theory and see that link. In the stakeholder theory part of the course, we asked the question, should organisations focus just on shareholders or on other stakeholders as well? Customers, suppliers, employees, local community, the environment, etc. And it seemed that there were two main reasons why the answer might be yes, you should focus on other stakeholders. One of those reasons was almost part of risk management, that if you don't understand who your stakeholders are, and those stakeholders can do things to you, they may well disrupt your business, and since you didn't see them coming, you won't be able to stop them doing it. On the other hand, if people think you should look after stakeholders and you don't, maybe your business will suffer due to reputation damage. Now that is all a very practical argument, almost instrumental, if you remember that word from stakeholder theory, because we're not thinking about the morals, the ethics of whether we should worry about stakeholders, we're thinking about what they can do to our business. But of course, the other reason why we might feel that we should look after the concerns of employees, customers, suppliers, etc., is maybe we feel it's a moral issue, an ethical issue. We should look after our employees because we have a responsibility towards them. It's the right thing to do. Well, in this chapter, we need to start investigating what we mean by the right thing to do. So we get to ask questions like, is there always one right answer? Or might the right thing to do depend on the particular situation? For example, let's imagine that you are taking your young child to the doctors. The reason you're taking your child is they need an injection against a fatal disease. On the way to the doctors, your child asks you, is this going to hurt? Now, you know that the answer is yes. It's needle, and needles hurt. But the thing is, if you now say, yes, I think it will, your child will almost certainly refuse to go, will now sit down in the road, refuse to move, and even if you do get them to the doctors, they'll be in such a horrible state that the chances are the doctor cannot do the injection. Maybe in this particular circumstance, it could be seen as ethical to lie. Tell them it won't hurt. Get them to the doctors, take their mind off it, get the injection done. Obviously, they're likely to cry and scream afterwards, but at least they've had the injection done. The benefit maybe outweighs the cost of telling the lie. Or maybe it doesn't. Okay, the child has had the injection. But on the other hand, now the child is thinking, you told me this wouldn't hurt, and it did. You lied to me. Which means maybe now the child thinks that lying is okay. One lie can lead to other lies. And I suspect in most cases, lying is not the right thing to do. So it's not a simple analysis. Now that's one big thing we need to talk about. What is right and wrong? Is there one set of rules that we should always follow? Can different people have different sets of rules in different countries, cultures, or maybe in different centuries, different periods of time?